Right folks, welcome back to Brew Time. A little bit special this time. We're on location. We're down here at Toro Adventure. We're joined by Lyndon Foster. How you doing, pal?
I'm good, mate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you've cracked open your beer already?
Yeah, why not?
Slange.
Cheers.
Here's to your health, folks.
Good health.
Right, so we're down here in Alhauran El Grande, is that right?
Alhauran El Grande.
What he said.
Arabic.
Yes, we are about half hour inland from Malaga here at Toro HQ, and Lyndon and I have just been out for a couple of days doing a comparison vid. Probably won't be out by the time this comes out, but it should be out quite soon. Going to see if my son will edit it. So we just spent 2 days out on the bikes on the 1250 and 1300 GS. We've done some road, we've done some off-road, direct comparisons, literally jumping on and off the bike, and it's been a lot of fun. But watch that vid because yeah, there was a lot of things came to light on that. But
yeah.
We've chatted about it in that vid, so make sure you check that out. Right, Lyndon, we've been planning on doing this for
a while now.
Quite a while, eh? Quite a while.
Oh dear. Yeah,
Finally made it happen. You're a bit nervous.
No.
No?
I'm fine.
You look nervous to me.
I'm with a good friend. It's easy. It's easy.
Awesome.
A beer and a friend, what can go wrong?
Exactly. It's just us catching up, really, isn't it? And chatting shit. Right. Lyndon, who are you and how did you end up here in this beautiful part of the world?
Okay, the story, I ended up in merchant banking somehow, a strange path to that, which we won't go into. I ran a fund management company of my own and then lost the company with a computer system that went wrong. I lost my mum at the same time, so the wheels came off the cart, so to speak. I had to get a job for the first time, so I then worked for a Singaporean broker and latterly Close Brothers as a fund manager in Manchester. Good job, but yeah, not quite what I'd had in mind.
Yeah. What sort of time was this then? What period
gosh,
are we
this
looking
would be 25 years ago, something like that. 27 years ago.
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s, yeah. When it went wrong, yeah. It started earlier than that. So a bit of a wake-up call, and then whilst travelling to Manchester on the train. My cousin sent me a text message saying the wealthiest guy on the planet is the one that spends the most time doing what he wants to do. And looking around the carriage at the people doing the same crossword and reading a similar book every day, I decided at that moment this wasn't my best plan. So I handed my notice in that day. I knew I had to do something. I was single and whatever, so I've got to do something. I don't know why, but I just thought I've got to do something. So I handed the notice in, no plan whatsoever. Came back, chatted again with my cousin, who I thank a lot because he started this ball rolling in many ways with that. We said, let's have a look at Spain. I'd had a place down here in the so-called good times. So I knew a little bit and said, what can we do that is more fun than sat on a train? And after a few crazy ideas, skiing and all sorts of things that we'd done in the past, I ended up riding with a company down the coast on dirt bikes. And it was great fun, frightened me to death. But the organisation wasn't the best. I won't go into it, but it wasn't the best. And it sparked an idea to say, maybe I could do that better. At that stage, I could hardly ride, so it goes a bit madder, the whole story.
Really? You weren't like bike mad when you came here?
Well, bike mad to a degree, but my off-road side was, I never had a motorbike till I was 28. I've done most sports, all in the wrong order. So I'd raced cars before that, never had a motorbike. At age 28, a friend bought a bike and went on the beach at Southport, which is flat. So having never been on a moped or anything, I bought this old CR250, orange thing that you could play any amount of tunes on the loose spokes. I had a wobble round Southport Beach, which is flat. And then he thought it was a good idea to enter an AMCA motocross race the following Sunday. So I had to go down to Parbold and buy some armour and helmet and all the things that I hadn't got in the fluorescent pink and yellow of the day, just to make things worse. And was stood on a grid with a 5-second, 15-second board with these other people thinking, I've done some stupid things, but what am I doing here?
Jesus.
So, according to the plan, a highly competitive guy with no ability ended up with a few casualty problems. I think I had my own seat down there at one stage, and I built up my own fan club that would only come and watch if I was racing due to the crashes I was having. So, but being highly competitive, I say, and not a lot of experience. So I did that for 2 years. Never managed to get a trophy in AMCA juniors. So that's pretty grim, to be honest, when I look back. In fact, it's the only sport I don't think I've ever won anything at. But then had this crazy idea to run an off-road business on the back of that. I then had some sports bikes after that. I had the Fireblade that's in the house, a 92 original Fireblade, which was crazy. 18,000 miles of madness on that. Really enjoyed that. Swapped that for the very first R1 and came back one day. We used to go out early in the morning, 6 in the morning, and sort of a bit of scratching and naughty stuff. And I came back one day and I was shaking. I was like, this is not a good idea. And this is not going to end well.
Yeah, I get that.
Put the bike in the garage and never rode it again.
Wow.
That was it. I sold it. I knew that if it was there, I'd probably be tempted to do something, and that's not going to end well, so I sold it. That is my total biking career. Before deciding to come out here and, launch myself into a biking business.
I had no idea. I thought you were like born with some handlebars in your hand and been riding since day dot.
No, not
28 you started
at all.
riding?
28 was my first ever bike.
What got you into biking?
Just my friend saying, he bought the CR250 for the beach. So that was how I started, and then looked at a road bike. I bought a little 125 NSR or something, Honda, and had a wobble around on that. Bought an RX 1000 before I passed my test. It's another story. And then I went to the test on it, and that was riding away. The instructor was looking a bit, because of the examiner, a bit quizzical at me. Soon realised that was a dreadful bike, and then the Fireblade, which was just incredible. I loved that bike. That was really good fun, and it was enough. Still today, I've bought one. I said it was the only bike I'd ever buy back, and a client said I found one, so I bought one. It's in the lounge. I look at it every day and think, I had some fun on you. The R1's not next to it, probably for a reason, because I think you nearly killed me. It was a pretty no electronics on it, a pretty brutal bike to be zooming around. So
be a bit of fun on these roads.
Oh, today, I might be now with a few more miles under my belt. I think it'd be a good fun bike to ride. Yeah, I think still a bit brutal in today's terms, especially after what we've been riding. I mean, wow.
You've got the blade, haven't you, for the track bike?
I've got a CBR 600
What's a 600?
RI. Yeah, it's a 600. Yeah.
Sorry, right.
No, one of our guide series ex-Moto 2 GP rider, and he's riding Spanish superbikes, and he flat refused to go around a circuit with me with a 1000cc bike. For good reason, I can understand, because I'm a bit crazy. So, and other reasons, really good reasons, saying that you just end up accelerating and braking.
Yeah.
And he said you're much better out riding the bike, and he can teach more. He has a CBR 600 sat there. So, that's the next escapade. I finally think I trust myself. Although people that know me, that's not really a good idea. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. I'm looking forward to it.
So let's rewind a wee bit then. How do you get into the finance world?
Literally playing a guitar and throwing darts and a dartboard when I should have been doing homework meant that I could play the guitar, and I was quite good at darts, but no good at anything else. So my academic career was fairly short. I left school at 16 with very little qualifications. And
but surely this was like 1800 and something, wasn't it?
It was similar, yeah. You
16 years, like you're 2/3 your way through your life.
Carry the slates home, and I've been by a board duster a few times. It's that old, and there were ink wells in the desks, but that was because they were old desks. It's a good time ago.
I remember the blackboards. I don't even say that anymore. But I remember blackboards with the chalk, and our techie teacher, Mr. McLean, if you didn't shut up in class, like people were chatting, you used to get the duster. It's like, if there's anyone young, like under 30 years of age, they used to use it's a lump of wood basically with like a felt bit of felt on one side, and they'd use that on the blackboard to clear the chalk off of it. Well, that would come flying across the road at your head.
Oh yeah, they were launched regularly, and the ruler across your knuckles, which today, that really hurt.
Yeah, I never got the cane, but I got the ruler turned upright straight across the back of the hand.
No, I had the cane. a few times. Yeah, at the school we were at,
you paid good money for that.
Yeah, it was and I learned a lesson early on. I got sent to the headmaster for something, nothing much, but he said, right, I'm going to give you lines, and I think I can remember it was in French, on French, 300 words or something, and brutally bad at French. Yeah. That seemed like, and I was going out that night, and he said he wanted it the next day. I said, can I have the cane instead? So I got both. So that was an early lesson to, to say, okay, but never did me any harm-ish. But yeah, crazy days. But yeah, they were funny.
All right, so like, where's the leap from no qualifications, leaving school at 16 to like hedge funds? How does that happen?
It's a quantum one. Basically, my father had an insurance business, so for £16 a week, I went there. Hated every second of it, but I had enough to buy an album, take my girlfriend at the time to the local rock nights, and life was fairly simple and basic. But soon grew that insurance is not the most exciting thing on the planet. I was never designed for that in the first place. Yeah. The only interesting thing within that business then was investment side. And then there was opportunities in the industry to launch your own funds within an insurance brokerage, which I did, which was crazy in every which way. But that grew quite dramatically, and we did very well. 16 years the business ran. It was going to a stage where the administrative setup we've got couldn't cope with it, and so we needed a much bigger computer system, which we brought in. It failed on the transfer of data, and the regulator. We were taking a lot of regular money. We couldn't take regular money because and then the company went bust that sold us the computer system, and the whole thing fell like a pack of cards, which was, it was painful. But in the light of things now, I think, well, I'd have probably been a fat cat banker and maybe 6 foot under at this stage rather than, riding around the mountains, having fun and taking the piss out of people and just enjoying life.
We spent 2 days, every time I come here, we spend the time working at the moment.
Work. I feel bad because some poor people had their work. So it's, but there's not a day where I don't appreciate, what I actually do in many ways. It's tough. It's not, I certainly didn't make the transition from merchant banking to dirt bikes to make money. That was I knew that. I didn't realize how hard a business it actually was. That's something that's, if you did a SWOT analysis for those that are in that world, the strengths, weaknesses and everything of a business, it's not good on anything. There's no recurrent income. It's capital intensive. It's all the things that, boringly, but it's a tough business. Yeah. But I have met the best people. Bikers are good. People that are willing to go on a dirt bike are very good. We've got about a 90% repeat organizer thing. Yeah. So it's friends coming back, and I love it, and I've met some of the best people, great friends, true friends. It's brilliant, on that.
I've said it umpteen times on this podcast that, I know I'm very lucky to do what I do, and I know you're the same about what you do for a living, but I'm a firm believer in you make your own luck. You know what I mean? Like, everyone goes, you're so lucky to do what you do. Yeah, I am, but it doesn't just fall in your lap, does it? You have a dream, you have an idea what you want to do, and then you have to go and make that happen.
I wish I was that clever to think that was, but when I look back, all my friends were like, he's lost the plot, he's gone loopy-loop, and I look back and I think I probably did, because selling up everything I've got, I bought an old Land Rover and a load of old TTR bikes that were second-hand, and came down to Spain with not much, a bit more due diligence and preparation, but not a lot, and came here and tried to fight my way into a business. And it got to a stage where I literally had no money at one stage, no money for food. I had to literally ask some friends for food and things, and just managed to scrape through that. And then I met the crazy Melanie, who, God bless her, has been fantastic through the years, and I'm still here because of her. I met her in the early days, and we managed to just kind of pull through, and then it's grown and grown and grown, and it's grown. And it's hard to look back now to think, wow, you know, I remember buying the first little van. It was so excited about buying. We had a van. Yeah. You know, and from the crazy things I'd had in my life before with cars and things, it was this, but it meant it. It was like, and it meant more than some of the things I'd had before, because it really was a fight to get to that stage.
You've been through the hardship in order to get to the reward.
Pretty rock bottom. It was as low as I want to go. You know, it was tough times. My father had got Alzheimer's at that stage, the early stages, and I'd lost my mum. And it was, wow, you know, what am I doing? It was a real question, but carried on, I think, through, I don't know what, just through, and met some great people that helped along the way. I remember Steve Ireland War Events was really helpful in the early days. I met a Spanish guy here, David Chavez, that was second in trials at Spain at the stage and took sympathy on me and told me how to ride. And still today, most of my teaching is, he was brilliant. He's helping Tiobo Chef at the moment. He's a really, really good lad.
Apologies for interrupting, folks, but a quick shout out for this week's sponsors, who this week are Ultimate Add-ons. Bit of spiel to read out for them. Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles. With a kit for any bike and a proven track record of creating products that keep your devices safe, secure and easily accessible, the Ultimate Add-ons product range is ideal for any rider, from the commuter to the round-the-world adventurer. Why shell out on an expensive GPS system when you could use your smartphone, keeping it charged and within reach to take photos of your travels at the same time? Ultimate Add-ons waterproof, shockproof and dustproof tough cases are available for all flagship smartphone models and are designed by riders for riders. Find out why Ride Magazine gives Ultimate Add-ons their coveted Best Buy certification. Keep riding this winter with Ultimate Add-ons. It's all about the journey. Now, if you head to Ultimate Add-ons, links down below, it's just Ultimate with ADDONS, all one word, ultimateaddons.com. Use the code TeapotOne, that's Teapot with ONE at the end, TeapotOne, then you'll get 10% off their entire product range. That also works for Dango Design UK as well. I've never had any vibration issues with the cases that I use. I've got one for my iPhone and I use the Hex sort of strap. It's in the pedal cycle section. It's just like a ratchet strap which allows you to pretty much attach it to absolutely anything, and then your case attaches to that. So a massive thank you to Ultimate Add-ons for their continued support.
Yeah, so nice people.
You've got quite a pedigree of previous punters and now friends here. I mean, you rattle off some names. This is incredible, folks. Like the people who come here to cut the shit with you and enjoy the bikes.
Yeah, Foggy, probably the biggest one. He's become Carl Fogarty. He's been my great friend. He's been over a dozen times, and he kindly invited me to his 50th, which I walked in his kitchen and said, "Where's your bike? You a championship-winning bike?" And he said, "I sold it." And I said, "Oh, I only came to see that." So yeah, he looked at me a bit quizzically, like, "Thank you very much." So he comes then with Jamie Whittam, who's is amazing, so funny, really nice. You know, someone that I'm trying to get, Bruce. Jamie, you need to come and chat to Bruce.
Mr. Whittam, I'd love you to come on the podcast.
Yeah, no, he's one of the nicest, funniest people I've met, you know, and Carl's great. I mean, what he's achieved, it's just...
I can't believe I've just done that.
Yeah.
Mr. Fogarty, I would love you to come on the podcast.
Yeah. You know, you look at the guy and you think, oh my God, and it's, you know, Jamie says, like, you want to see the best lap ever around the TT, it's Carl Fogarty's lap when the bike was falling to bits, and he won it, and that lap record stood for 5 years, and then, you know, then 7 world championships, four superbike world championships, unbelievable. You know, it's just a pleasure to be a friend of someone like that. I never forget it, but he's become a friend, and it's you know, I'm happy to say that. And then there's all the Scottish boys, which are really good fun. You know, there's these Northern boys, as you know about them, Ian Simpson, Ian Duffers, Brian Morrison, Ian McPherson, John Crawford, all of them. I think I was riding through Morocco once and I had 7 or 9 TT winners behind me on a road I don't know, on knobbly tyres, in the wet and the snow, trying to entertain them, thinking, if it's going to go wrong, this is pressure on. Leon Haslam's been out, Jerry McWilliams has been out, Alistair Seeley, he's brilliant, won more Northwest 200s than anyone. And then you go through to like Bez off the Happy Mondays. Random as hell. Absolutely brilliant. Love him to bits. Can't wait to see you again, pal. Sadly broke his foot in his hand the first time he came, but and as Jamie said, he said the only surprising thing about that is he lasted a day and a half. Really enthusiastic. He's now bought a bike and I can't wait to see him again. Yeah, he's bought a dirt bike. Oh, he's great fun. Really, really nice guy. Now in Hereford, keeps bees, and yeah, we had a really good. I've got an interview with him on the Sun Lounges there that we're going to put out on a little thing later, and it was funny. He's a really good laugh, so he's looking forward to coming back. And then Ross Noble's probably the only other one that was like not in the biking world, but Ross was really good fun.
But he's a die-hard biker as well.
Oh yeah, no,
good off-road. Is it trials he does?
No, mainly like enduro type of style of things. So he was great fun. He came with Graham Jarvis doing a video with the two of them. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, but he said, Lyndon, this just looks like a fat comedian riding with the world's best client, the world's best rider. And I said, yeah, kind of a bit like that. And he pulled it. He said, it's not looking good for me on the thing, But he was such a nice guy. We really had a good laugh, and the one story. Can I tell his one story?
Of course you can.
Oh,
you got to
sorry,
know.
Ross, if it's like spoils
Ross,
your
listen,
fun.
you can come on the podcast. I'd love you to come on. You can tell me some stories about him.
Loads of stories as you get from a comedian. Funny, but he said he has a tank, so he's got a big house down south. I think he's moved to Australia now, but he had a big house down south, and he's got a tank. So in the garden or the land at the back of the big house. And he said to his wife, he said, I've seen this fiberglass rhino. He said, full-size fiberglass rhino. And she said, don't be stupid. You can't have that. He said, you've got your tank. Now be happy with your tank. So unbeknown to him, for his birthday, she buys him this rhino, because she's obviously, to be married to Ross, she must be good fun. So she buys him this rhino. So he's got this little routine now. You can probably see where this goes. But he's got an enduro track around the garden, the big
The estate.
And he says to people, right, you can have a go, but just let me know if you see any zebras. He said, because they jump the fence and I have to phone them, and they come and collect the zebras. So implanted, we back onto a safari park, and they go over the first hill, and there's a rhino. He said there's holes through the trees, the floor, everything, where people have literally bricked themselves as they come over a small rise, and there's a rhino. So yeah, great story. Sorry if I spoil anything, Ross, but it made me laugh. Yeah, he was good fun, really good fun. Yeah, just a difficult one with your Graham Jarvis. Hard to look anything other than average review with Graham Jarvis.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember you were telling me about Graham Jarvis coming here, and I've said before, I love me bikes, but I have very little knowledge of the sort of racing world, the motocross world, the enduro. I just, it's not something I followed growing up, so slowly getting into it all. I just like riding a bike myself. But you remember you telling me about Graham Jarvis, and then lockdown hit, and all through lockdown, on my Instagram, I was following Graham Jarvis anyway, because you'd mentioned it. And Jarvis was in his back garden, just like destroying his back garden.
Destroyed his shed.
Yeah.
I think everybody must have seen that video. Everyone mentions it. Oh, Graham, when he destroyed the shed. Yeah, and I said, he's a really nice guy. He's a friend that's, he's got a place close to here. Really nice guy. He's very shy, but when you get to know him, he is a funny guy, and that doesn't surprise me. And that was a stroke of genius, So he's local to us. One of our guides rides with them all the time. He's beyond me. He's way beyond me.
Yeah.
Well, beyond most people, but he's beyond me. Yeah. And even now, I'm 48, I think, or something. It's crazy. And Alex is 27. Goes out and said, he's not sweating at the end. And he said, I'm still crikey, that was a tough day. So, yeah, brilliant.
Alex
Absolute
is the
genius.
ex-Moto 2.
Yeah, Alejandro Medina. He's, one of the guides phoned me up a couple of years ago and said in between racing, he was racing Spanish superbikes. Could he come and help on the enduro side? And I said, yeah, of course. You know, I know his reputation. He's top enduro rider as well. Was quite unlucky in his career. He was winning a championship to get a Moto 3 KTM ride, and his gear lever broke. So Quattararo got the ride. Vinales was behind him, and Alex Marquez was behind him, and
Really?
so he raced Moto 2, and he had a chance of a Moto GP ride, but he'd signed for a Moto 2 contract. So now he's we've got everything crossed. Ducati are allowed into Spanish superbikes for the first time. They just need a number of bikes in there, and Alex has got all the sponsorship. So we'll hopefully we'll be able to watch him on that.
Wow.
As well as he's decided to do some of the Pro Class World Enduro Championship rounds. So Erzberg and Romaniacs and things. I think he's going in Pro Class at those. Yeah, he's riding a lot with Graham at the moment. Graham's helping him and he's got his arm round him. So
would he? I mean, this is a lot of what ifs, isn't it? And probably a discussion you need to have with Alex. But would you continue having him as an instructor here if he was to go down?
I'd hope so.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm fully aware that, you know, and I would never hinder him on a career in either on the circuit or off road. You know, he's such a talented guy, but you know, we've had such a good time with him, and the expert riders that come, there's no one going to outride him, literally. Unless Graham comes as a client, which that's not going to happen, then he's been an asset. So and good fun, you know.
Folks, if you've watched, I was down here with Sean, likeable rider, and Pete English. We came down here. Was Lotta with us as well? 2 wheels and a ponytail.
I think she was, yes, on that tour, yes.
So we came down here and we went off on the bikes. Well, at the end of the vids, when we're back here, right at the very end, there's a guy like wheeling and doing endos and everything right at the very end of the last vid. That is Alex. And then in this 1250 1300 vid we've just done, there's a little bit of footage that also includes Alex. So if you watch the vid and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, funny. We had a laugh doing it. We hope everybody else thinks it's funny. Probably nobody thinks it's funny, but it was funny to us.
We thought it was hilarious. So where are you at now then? Where are you at now? Because obviously you have Toro Adventure, which is the GS focused, not just road, but like off-road as well. Toro Adventures, who I went to Morocco with Pete English in July, wasn't it?
In July, yeah.
Lyndon's idea to go in July, 48 degrees.
It was the only time we could, but it was my idea, yeah. Not the best idea. Was a little bit hotter than everybody expected.
We all knew it was going to be that hot. He took me to Morocco the first time.
The first time I ever went on a recce.
Yeah.
6 days we did the whole of Morocco, which was crazy.
What is now a 10-day trip, we did in 6.
Yeah, it was full hit.
Yeah, I think I got heat stroke in that one as well.
Yeah, you did, yeah. Well, you're from up that north region where, it was...
That was, what was that, 217, 218?
Oof. I think so, probably around that.
Mark, Perry, Greg.
Around that. It was great. That was a great fun. That was really fun. Especially that one waiter that was...
He was like... what's he? It was him that said, "Och, I the new." No, it was the old boy. The old boy at the Blue City, Chef Shawan.
In Chef Shawan,
He was the one that went, "Och, I the new," wasn't it? He was like, he'd been in Aberdeen or something, hadn't he, or Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Studied in Edinburgh. Yeah. So obviously there's the Toro Adventure side, but you also have Toro Trail, and Toro Trail is the Huskies. I keep saying little, but
it was the original thing was the dirt bikes, which we were Yamaha originally, and then latterly now we've moved over to Husqvarna. So we've got 16 Husqvarnas here, some 2-strokes, mainly 350 4-strokes, our favoured bike for clients. And that's busy. That's really, really crazy busy business with 80-90% repeat clients. So that's where we are with that. And there was a stage when we looked at saying, could we have a lifeboat at some side or another business? And riding through Morocco, one of the tours, there was just BMW. It was like, wow. So for that reason, we alone, there were so many BMWs, we looked at the GS business as something that's it's similar to what we do, but something that's a side, and maybe a lifeboat if something happens to dirt bike riding in Spain. And we bought half a dozen bikes, and you know, we set off on that road, both guided and what we call a stress buster, which is self-guided. So people can fly in, we pick them up. There's the bike, all your hotels are booked. There's the route on the sat nav, and you self-guide yourself and phone us if there's a problem.
Right.
And that concept's gone down very, very well. People like the fact that this takes the hassle out, which is where we came up with the stress buster. And then the guided we do on off-road Spain and Portugal and Morocco, the bigger ones. We're just launching a 5-day northern Morocco one, because the border when we went was, they've actually got their act together. And we went through it like in half an hour or something.
It wasn't even half hour, wasn't it? It was incredible. Never seen it that quick.
No Mr. Fix-Its, nothing. It's just a simple system. So on the back of that, we've decided to launch a 5-day Taste of Morocco. You've still got Fez, the oldest Medina in the world, Chefchaouen, the Blue Town, a ski resort, which shocks people. So yeah, we're going to do that. And then the full 10-day, 11-day road one, and then the on-off-road one. We do 1 or 2 a year. It's quite a challenge. That
sort of on-off-road that we did, I mean, that is an adventure, folks. That you'll put, if you're not a seasoned sort of off-roader on a big adventure bikes, but you like a bit of the dirt, that will push you, that will test you, and it's a lot of fun. It was actually quite stressful. I've been around the world, you know, so I should be used to that sort of stuff. But it was quite at the time. It was quite stressful, you know, and it was just like I was out my comfort zone. But looking back, particularly, I said to you, like editing that footage, I looked at the footage and was just like, what an adventure that was.
Yeah, it's real. The thing about it is that you're right, that it's a level of ability. But it's also attitude. It's more in people's heads as well. We're going across a desert.
Yeah.
There's no option. We're not going to stop halfway and say, right, I've had enough. We are going across it. A desert as in rough ground rather than the dune side of things. A GS it can be done, but you're then into different tyres and things like that. So we come across sand, as we know, in our trip, which is very, very difficult on a very heavy bike. But it is very real. You know, it is real. And I think that's what people like about it. Other places, I remember when I first came to Spain and it was like, oh, I'm in this foreign country and this. And now it's very familiar. I don't feel there's no risk factor in many ways. Spain, Morocco, fantastic. Never had any problems with anybody. There's certainly no theft or, you know, things like that. But it is real. You're going across a desert. We hit 47 degrees when we were down? 48.
Yeah.
You know, that's serious. Then you've got to start saying, right, you need to do the hydration things and you need to be careful. Yeah. Because it is at a serious level. We went in July. It was the only time we had a window. We said, you know, I'm mad enough if you're mad enough. And then I think we worked out how mad we were when we worked out that on 13 days or 12 days of the most adventure-ridden trails and roads in the world, we saw one bike. When normally I've been there and it's almost now getting, because the roads are so good, it's almost getting, everybody's there on the adventure bikes. We saw one bike. It was funny, Mad Dogs and Englishmen.
Booking into some of the bigger hotels, like the reception staff were just sort of looking at you like, you've come on bikes?
Yeah.
In this? We're like, have you got water? Please.
There's some advantages though. You go over the Rif and the Atlas Mountains and they're beautiful because your height makes it cooler, but when you start dropping down the south, yes, it was. But the maddest day we had was the simplest day where we had a day off and we said we'll try and find the staircase to heaven. There's a German built.
I hated you that day. Hated you. With it's just off the road. It's just off the road. Don't worry about it. It's no problem. My arse.
Well, we had a couple of young Moroccans thought to make some money out of us, I think, because they gave us the wrong route to go. We could see it, and they said, this way, and next minute, sand. So, we had, even with the guy, I think you peeled off in the end.
Yeah, me, Pete and Didier all went.
After cursing me to hell.
That.
You know, I said, no, it's only just off the road to, And then on the way back, they gave us another route it got quite serious. It was hot, and picking GSs up in sand is...
yeah, no, you can keep that. No thanks.
but we've since found an easier way there, which is, Google Earth showed us that we didn't go the most direct route. So
Where would you like to travel on a bike
that
you've not been?
Okay, Algeria is really on my radar.
You spoke about this yesterday. Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, and people are saying, "Oh, you're going to be careful about the Libyan border," but then when I showed you the map, it's like Algeria is the 10th biggest country in the world.
I didn't
and you've got
appreciate
the
that, so
Sahara Desert between you and the Libyan border, so those things aren't a problem. But I had an Algerian client out, Sid, who was funny on a couple of fronts. He came out on a tour and he said, "You must come to Algeria. I will sort you out. You can use my triple black." And I was thinking, this sounds interesting. He said, "But I have to tell you," he said, it is not as advanced as Morocco." And at that stage I was like, okay. I never thought those two words would go in a sentence, advanced and Morocco. So I kind of gather that it's broken roads, from talking to people, beautiful, proper adventure. A few landmines here and there, which is a bit of a focus on the game, but it's still very much on my radar as one of the craziest things to do. But it's not far away. That's the other thing. It's there's a ferry from Malaga to Algiers, and you're there. So
Really?
yeah, it's about 10 or 12 hours or something. So it's far away, but it's not that far away. You can almost see it on a good day. You can see Morocco from here, but you could almost see Algeria. So
I didn't think Algeria let sort of Westerners in.
It's they reckon it's one of the hardest borders in the world to go across. But he said no problem. You can come straight in on the ferry to there.
Wow.
He can sort that out. Going from Morocco to Algeria, you're in
On a land crossing.
I have been literally going in the desert and a Hummer type vehicle coming alongside us, and we're like, okay, this is serious. And he's like, "You're in Algeria," and if you look at the map, it's like squares. We went across one of the diagonals.
Yeah.
And he was laughing. He said, "Just keep this way." And I said, "Probably will now."
Yeah.
So I've been in Algeria, but I don't know how far and how long, but only across some scrub desert. So that's on my radar. And Colombia, I don't know. This just keeps coming up with different clients. A client came with a Colombian girlfriend stroke wife. Egley, a great friend of ours that brings the young ladies for their big little rides, which is a great thing for the lady riders. She's been there, said it was magnificent. And a guy had been around the world on an ocean racing yacht. He said, "Oh yeah, Cartagena, that's the place you want." So it keeps coming up, and the access to the Amazon, the rainforest. When I look at it, it's got the coffee plantations. Just seems to be on my radar. It's a bit random, but
I love Colombia. I wish I'd spent longer in Colombia. Colombia was a place where everyone warns you about. Most of Central and Southern America, people warn you about. It's certainly when I was there, 2012, 2014, it was just a load of rubbish, because Colombia in particular was so friendly, so friendly. I remember the border crossing from Ecuador into Colombia was, across the world, was one of the most technical and modern crossing. I think it took 15 minutes. Everything was on computer.
Yeah. Wow.
It was all in a structured building. There was no money exchanged hands, nothing at all. It was just, done, bosh, into Colombia, welcome and enjoy. And the roads were amazing.
yeah,
That's where, if you've ever been to any of my talks that I do, sometimes I talk about where I got proposed to at a petrol station. That was in Colombia.
Yeah, what was he like?
He's a lovely fella, really lovely legs. What they were doing in Colombia, and they do it in some other South America and Central American countries, to entice men into petrol stations, to get your fuel at a petrol station. All the pumps are attended by beautiful women.
Right.
It is like a Benny Hill sketch.
Yeah,
so you'll have the secretary, you'll have, one in mechanic overalls.
So half a litre at a time along the road.
Absolutely, yeah. Little enough with the fuel.
Yeah.
So I pulled up to get some fuel, and the mechanic lady asked which fuel I was after. And as soon as I spoke, she said, are you English? And I was like, no, I'm Scottish. Yeah. And she just kind of went, Scotia. She shouted some name like, Michelle or something like that. And then this 6-foot beautiful woman stepped out of the building, and she looked like a Benny Hill secretary, suspenders, short skirt, like the office type suit, glasses, and she sort of walked up with this real scowl on her face, said something to this lady, and then she just looked at me and she said, "Talk to me." So I said, "How you doing? How are you? What's going on?" And she was just like, "Scottish, marry me." And she's facing me, and she threw her leg over the tank, sat on the bike, and she was like, "Marry me." So I was like, all right. So I took her for a wee hurl on the road and came back. And I was like, yeah, I think I could quite like Colombia.
Yeah.
Great place.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah, no, it's really on my radar. And I looked at Lonely Planet thinking, how safe is it? Because of the Escobar thing, and it came up as like the 165th or 166th safest country on the planet.
Yeah.
And I can't name the other 165 ahead of it. So I think it's like anywhere. If you go somewhere and you go start looking for the Escobar things and the villages and that, you could get yourself in trouble. But I think in the main, if you use a bit of common sense in some of these places, it's not too bad.
Anywhere, absolutely anywhere in the world, you just have to go by your, intuition. It's the old spidey sense, isn't it? If it doesn't feel right, generally I'd suggest don't do it. You could be being overcautious for sure, but I kind of always go with a gut feeling now. And I think when you travel, particularly when you travel over land for a prolonged period of time, you just develop this, it's not a sixth sense, but you learn to trust people a lot more. And I think because you're maybe more open to people, they're not on the back foot, and they're not treating you with as much suspicion. So they're more open to you. And it's the whole, I've chatted about this in the podcast, Polaris box they talk about, where, I think it's Polaris box, my action affects your reaction, which affects my reaction, which affects you. You end up in that sort of...
Yeah, very much so.
If I'm like this, you're going to be like this, course. And then we just both go up.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to de-escalate the situation by... There's a guy called Sam Manicum. He's a well-renowned, world-known traveller. He always says, just face everything with a smile. And you think, if you're not of that world, you just think, oh, wishy-washy lefty. But he's totally right.
No,
absolutely
I think
right.
your persona's very... I mean, I've not done anything like your travel, but been 50, 60, 70 times maybe to Morocco and in the, the remote places. Had one client saying, "Oh, we're really glad we're in the Atlas Mountains. I was reading Lonely Planet about the Rift Mountains, and I was like," he said, "We're in the Rift Mountains, aren't we?" Said, "Yeah, we're right in the heart of the Rift Mountains, and everything you can see is hash." And so he just looked round. He said, "Even the weeds in the town are hash." It was like,
that is such a surreal thing to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just growing everywhere.
I remember going with some police riders and they said, "These are 500 pounds a plant," and millions of them. So. Yeah, so it's, but the people there, even in those areas, never had a problem with the people away from cities. Cities tend to be, I think you have to be more on guard in a city than you do with the real people out in the real part of the world. There may be parts of the world where that would be, and certain parts of Africa or something, or South America that might be more dangerous on that. But in the main, I found that with Morocco, they're lovely. You'd turn up on your X-mounted pounds GS with all your fancy cameras and everything, and then the guy comes out offering you bread, and it's very humbling. It's a place where, you go over that ferry and you go back 2,000 years in parts. It really brings you back to what's real and what really matters,
It's quite humbling, isn't it? I remember doing the Uzud Falls.
Oh yeah.
There, and as we pulled into Uzud, there's just loads of young lads, like 14, 15, 16 years of age, all hustling, trying to get you, like they want to show you where to park the bikes, don't they? And these lads, like, they literally stand in what they own. Like, the whole world is what they're stood in. That's the clothes they own. And they were sleeping on top of, like, concrete sheds, basically, and that's their life.
Oh, it's really, really, it's hard to... The thing they've got food, they've got the weather pretty much. It's but yeah, nothing, no shoes. It's you can't think that just over a ferry then there's people there that don't own shoes, and it's I have to say that there's one funny story. The first time I ever went to Morocco, green as grass. I've got a crazy friend called Domin, who is one of the best guides on the planet. Everybody knows Domin. People watching will say, oh yeah, Domin, I know him from Belgium. I've been in the middle of the desert, and the Touareg guy went, Domin! I was like, no way, do you know someone in the middle of the desert? He talks to everybody, speaks every language. Great guide, fantastic. So I'm going to Morocco the first time. Domin says, okay, I've organised, and this is on early TTR bikes that were dreadful, really, but were there. Luckily, I was with Ian Simpson, some tough Scottish guys with me, as the story goes. So we said, we're going to meet this guide at this restaurant, and then you're going to follow him to Chef Shower. I've never been there. This is it. It's just new to me. So I meet this guy, and he's a bit chunky, speaks really good English, and got leather trousers on, and he's got this big KTM that's got a lot of oil all over it. So off we go.
No way, not a KTM. No way.
This is an adventure. Yeah, we're in Morocco, and we're all laughing, and then as it went for a few miles, he starts talking to a lot of people where I'm thinking, I'm not sure he knows where to go. This is getting a bit more like quizzical. And then we come to this really crazy uphill part, which has got grass, rocks and everything. No trail whatsoever. And we're up and we're all having a laugh. We're all falling because there's rocks in the grass and everything. And anyway, we get right to the top of this. And then we go down this huge shale descent on these TTRs. And we're all at the bottom. And then one of them, Jasper, who is an ex-Marine, now a stuntman. Mad as you get, bright red-headed Scots guy. Lovely lad. But he says, Lyndon, you need to come with me now. Back up this shale climb. And I'm like, why? And he goes, shh. He said, you need to come with me. I said, okay. So we managed to get to the top of that. And there is the guide lying on the floor. And if you see those chalk marks of a dead person, he's in that position on the floor with this bike next to him. And this Jasper's looking at me going, what do you think? I'm like, oh God. So this guide, this is with a word of a lie. This is exact words. I'll never forget it in my life. He looks at me and he goes, leave me here to die. He says, you save yourselves. And I'm like, oh, great. And Jasper's like, this is like really funny, Oh, God. So we...
So you left him? And,
Yeah, so we buried him there, yeah. No. He was too big to bury. He was a chunky guy, I'd say. No, we gave him some water and convinced him he wasn't going to die. Bless him, he had lifted a bike more times than he could lift a bike. And anybody that's done it, you go anaerobe it and you're out. Bam, bam, boof, he was out. Bless him. So we gave him some water. I said to Jasper, can you try and ride this? And he's a stunt rider. He said, yeah, there's no fork seals. They've gone. There's oil all over the discs. He says, but I'm all right. So we got this guy on a TTR. I am now on a mountain in Morocco. Never been there in my life. I confess I didn't even have a map with me because I thought of following a guide.
Nothing's changed, has it? You still don't do
well, I'm happy. I find the good things when we're lost. It's going to be an adventure. I'm not into the organised thing too much like that. Wow, it's my style.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, keeping the high ground, as I know a little bit about guiding at this stage. This is really early days, isn't the thing? Riding along and just trying to pick out hills and things. Long story short, anyway, eventually we come to a road. And there's a sign for Chef Sharon, and I'm like, I am the new king of guiding. Managed to get everyone, around this. First time I've talked to the guide since we set off again. I said, how far is Chef Sharon from here? And he said, it's about 60 kilometres. So that's about as far as when we started. He said, yes, it was further down the road here. So we are now back to where we started virtually. Starting to go dark. Bikes there were terrible bikes in those days, bless the bikes, and they're like, some had lights and things. We'd never planned on riding in the dark. You never ride in the dark in Morocco, but we did. We followed some cars to Chef Sharon, and we finally get to this hotel where the Domin had arranged for some beers to be there. So there's two
Morocco's
pallets.
A dry country, folks, for those of you who know.
So we've got a stack of 2 lots of 16 beers, I think it was. About 15 minutes later, they'd gone, and this Moroccan guy was like, I said, can we have some more beers? And he's like, where have they gone? I said, well, there's 10 Scottish guys here. They've seen those off, particularly with the adventure we've had. And then the guide turned to me and he said, will you be requiring me tomorrow? And probably not, I think, actually.
I can do this.
We might wing it again tomorrow rather than that. So that was my first experience of Morocco. Thankfully, with the Scottish guys, we still all laugh about it and say it was brilliant fun. It was real because, you know, when I look back now, it was fairly safe and everything. But at the time, it was a proper big adventure. But leave me here to die, you save yourself.
It's when you have all these stories, that's what makes the adventure, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what sticks in your mind. If it's just like plain sailing, if it's just no different than, you know, just normal life, you just go from one hotel to the next hotel to the next hotel with nothing happening in between. It's not, it might be some people's idea of a holiday, but for me it's not. It's not like a trip. It's not a bike trip.
No,
a bike trip, you want stuff to happen, don't you?
Yeah, I always like a bit of fun. I remember there was one time years later, we were in Morocco, and I got these 2 crazy guys from Cork, bright red hair. There seems to be a theme with the bright hair.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Bright red hair, really intelligent guys, but from Cork, like with all the accents and everything, and some other riders. And I just thought, we're on the dirt bikes, we're just not having enough fun. Kind of, I need some a bit, and I saw this trail going around the mountain to another village, quite a long way away. So I thought, well, yeah, let's go on that. It's single track, proper single track. Let's have a go on that. So I go towards it. Stood by the side is what you can only be described as death. There's a guy in a black jalaba, the things with the hood and all the way down, and he's got a stick and a beard, a bit like this, but he was an ugly guy. And I said, I was kind of like, you know, is it okay? Or, you know, the bits of I could make say, it's okay, this trail. And he goes, no, like this. No.
So you went.
So we went. And all I could hear was I was going, what the fuck? I'm fucking death. For about an hour as we went round this thing. I could still hear him, what the bloody... And we got to the other end. I've got a video of it, of him talking, but it's steamed up, my camera, and I wish I got it because the speech at the end was brilliant. It was just absolutely hilarious. And then he phoned me a couple of months later and I've not stopped telling that story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, remember, like, we had I guided a tour for you, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
my God. Yeah.
And it was just one of those, you get them. So it was just like, things go wrong. Things do go wrong on it. And I remember saying to the lads at the time, I was like, you will look back at this. You will look back, and it will be one of these trips that will stick in your memory and you'll laugh. And a couple of those lads have kept in touch, and they've both said, you know, still one of the best bike trips I've ever been on, just because of what went on. You know, and it's memorable. I tell you what, it's getting dark and it's getting cold.
I'm looking at you in your t-shirt there, and the old nips coming out. Like, you know,
well, obviously that's just the company that I keep. Do you need another beer?
We could go another beer, couldn't we?
We'll be back in 2 ticks.
We are also sponsored by the Influencer Store. Now, Roger and Charlotte over at the Influencer Store, they've been doing my merch for TeapotOne.com for quite a few years now. I used to use the standard sort of print-on-demand type web-based ones. It was nice and easy to do that, but the quality of the products were 2 or 3 washes and they fell apart. They'd lose their shape, and I wasn't really happy for my brand to be associated with that sort of quality. So I was on the hunt for some better quality merch. I saw Richie Vida stuff and thought, that's really good. Nice quality, really nice print, like the designs, and he pointed me in the direction of Roger and Charlotte over at the Influencer Store, and they've been doing my merch ever since. I get the feedback from you guys when you spend your hard-earned money on the merch, and you seem to be happy with it. If you're not, please do let me know and we can feed it back, but I've got some spiel to read out from them. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design. And there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at influencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. And lastly, a massive shout out to all of you over in the clan over at patreon.com/TeapotOne. Could not do this without all your support, folks. We've got a fantastic community going on over there. Everyone's so supportive of each other. We do the ride outs, we do the meetups, and obviously you guys get first choice for the questions on the podcast. Thank you so much for all your support. I hope you're all still enjoying it. Let's get back to the podcast.
Right, welcome back, folks. Didn't bother with the jacket. I've got a Scottish jacket. Slange. It's to your health.
Crazy. Cheers.
Right, folks, we are going to go to questions. So, as usual, we're going to go to the clan over on Patreon. So it's patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one we have here is, you're getting a what? That's the name of the person. Out of all the bikes you've owned, which one means the most to you and why?
Okay. Certainly the Fireblade. It has to be the 92 purple, white and pink Fireblade.
The one you sold?
The one I sold. I wouldn't want that one back, to be fair. But no, 18,000 miles of crazy, crazy fun on a bike that shakes its head, but never let me down. Bulletproof. Started every day. Had a friend with a 916 that was 50-50 whether he was coming out every day, but no, I love that bike. That's why there's one sat there, and I don't even ride it. I just walk down the stairs, and it's like, yeah, we had some fun, and it was happy days. So yeah, I don't think any of the others anywhere near. I had a crazy 450 Yamaha that was incredibly powerful, and had some mad times on that. Some big crashes on it. But no, the Fireblade would be my...
Where'd you go on the Fireblade? 18,000. Was that all UK based, road riding?
Well, we did go on one European tour, but we got to Amsterdam.
And what happened in Amsterdam?
We found a couple of bars and things, yeah. We did more miles. We did more miles going to Hull than we did on the continent on our European tour. So no, it was all UK. It was there was a bike shop near us that I won't go into, and we used to go out with them quite early on, a couple of TT riders and fast riders, and early in the morning, and do some. You could never do it today for every reason you could do today, and then. Eventually on the R1 I thought, yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous, but and I was kind of tail end Charlie of that lot. There were some very, very good riders, but it was great fun, and I love that bike. It's just still today. I mean, I did a ride out when I bought this. Andy Miston, he came out and we both rode it and said, let's not say anything, let's just ride it and then talk. And we both looked at each other. You don't need much more than that, do you? It's not like, it's still crazy today. It's still a good bike. I mean, nothing like the bikes of today, but, the roads and everything, I mean, you'd be locked up for what we were doing. So, so the Fireblade, that would be my keeper.
Yeah, for me, it would be, it's got to be the Gixxer. Yeah, it has to be the Gixxer. Yeah. I can show you here. The Gixxer is my screensaver. It's, I'm getting it back on the road as well.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's all rebuilt.
Oh, I can't wait.
Just have to get the insurance sorted, and then that's back on the road. And I cannot wait to ride that again. Do some more adventures. Right. So thank you very much for that. You're getting a what? Next one, Gary Barker. If you were made to work in one place every day, but your house was at the other end of any road, what would be the dream commute for you? Let's ignore the weather.
The place to ride.
Your dream commute to work.
The dream commute to work. Gosh, mine's down the stairs at the moment. That's not so exciting.
Yeah, I was going to say, you live it.
There's occasionally some congestion on the stairs, but gosh, it would... the dream commute. There's a couple of roads in Spain that are exceptional for saying, yes, you would never really get bored and not a lot of cars on it. But still, some of the Morocco passes are very, very special. That you think, the scenery changing and everything that, because a daily commute, you got to think it's got to be entertaining on the way. So, yeah, I think there's a couple of roads around Sierra Nevada that are twisty, very fair. You can see for miles. They're very safe. The surface is good. that would have to be it. You'd go to work with a smile on your face and shaky hands occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did one with Foggy, and I'm on a GS 1250. He's on a Ducati Scrambler because he's an ambassador, so he's on that. I'm thinking, when I saw the Scrambler, I thought he's going to struggle to keep up. Yeah, right. 7 times
Carl
world
Fogarty.
champion. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. So, but we got down one of the hills as quick as I'd like to go, and he's all over the back of me on this Scrambler, and we got down the bottom, and I said, "Oh, that was good, wasn't it?" He said, "Look, my hand's shaking. I feel like I'm 19." I was I kind of with you on that.
I got a good mate of mine, mates of mine, Jimbo and Dave, and back in my early days of riding, they were the two proper hooligans that they basically they took me down the dark path. I had sensible mates that I used to ride with, and then I rode with them, and they were the utter hooligans. Both ended up doing like amateur racing. But we always used to know, like even the other halves used to say, when we'd been out for a ride and you get home, you know, when you're just quiet and you are shaking when you get back, and they were like, just don't tell me about it. Just don't let me, I don't want to know what you've been up to. But like for us, that was like a good ride. Yeah. And I kind of miss those days, but I'm
too long in the tooth.
You only have X amount of lives, don't you?
Yeah. As we talked about, I want to come back. I mean, we've done some good ridings.
Yeah, it's been progressive. It's been fun.
Progressive. We were chomping on. And I just want to have a no incident day. I don't want to come back and think, oh, that was lucky. Oh, the bike did that on that bend. Oh, that was a bit naughty. I just want to come back and think, enjoy the riding, ride properly, but have a no incident day is really important to me. And I think, back to those days.
I think when you've had a ride that has gone wrong, and it's not so much when it affects you, not when you have the crash, but for me, I had a mate of mine, Amish. If you've seen any of my Picos vids, folks, the guy that goes straight over the roundabout, and he later in that tour, he had to lie the bike down. Well, I've spoke about this before. We ended up doing a bit in Portugal one time, and he had a massive, massive crash in Portugal. He hasn't ridden since. Bless him. I don't blame him. But we thought we lost him. It was a bad crash, and we're all experienced coppers, so we've dealt with road accidents before, and every one of us thought he was gone, and that definitely was a massive wake-up call for, I think, everybody. So when that sort of stuff happens, you just think to yourself, is it worth it?
Yeah, but if there wasn't that edge, then it's not going to be the same.
You need that, don't you?
There's a level of it, but I think as you get a little bit older in the tooth and more experienced, then you don't want to have those. They need to be very rare occasions rather than each time you go out, that overtake and this and that surface and these things. It's,
I think your risk assessment maybe, or your risk aversion, maybe, is it risk aversion? Maybe your tolerance for risk, that maybe comes down. Not with everybody, because there's still nutters out there, isn't there?
But, my nickname's Crazy L, so my tolerance is still up there. But yeah, on the road, I think on dirt bikes slightly different. More, have a go at things more, because it's not going to be, in the main, it will be unlucky if it was ever fatal. It's more you bumped and banged and bashed. On a road, it goes wrong. The consequences are much, much higher. Massively. And that's where I think with now getting the race bike that, it's obviously it can happen there, but it's a safer environment to do things a little bit more aggressively than you would on a normal situation.
I'm the same. I'm not worried about, I don't mean this foolhardily, I'm not worried about me. I'm not worried about hurting me or, damaging me. It's the thought, if I was to, say, low side the bike, and then the bike spins off head on into a car and you hurt, or God forbid, kill someone, I couldn't cope with that. Being responsible for somebody else who's totally innocent from this whole thing, that's irresponsible, isn't it?
You're in a powerful weapon in many ways, and therefore the respect has to, it's a balance. and you get older, the balance goes, the scale slides along one end of the balance, I think. But and you get better, hopefully, at riding. So it's not that I'm riding probably, I don't know, I'm probably riding faster than I did when I had the Fireblade in the first place. But
that's the thing on these big adventure bikes, though, isn't it? Like, we'll not mention those two letters, but any big adventure bike these days, they're just such capable machines. You do ride them quicker. You ride them quicker on a sports
I've got
bike.
a bunch of mates at home that carried on riding sort of whilst I've been here, all on the Gixxers and the R1s and the things like that. And they said, like, it's getting a bit silly now. So they went to BMW and they came out with XRs. So then they're going faster on the XRs than they were than what they had before because it's more usable.
Yeah.
And they said, this is now getting silly. So they've now gone to the GSs. No difference. No. They're still riding. It's the three
even
progressive
more
things.
Power, yeah.
It's just easier again. So they're just they're saying this is a crazy sort of line. They're going to have to get sort of Triang scooters or something.
Yeah.
Go around the park or something. But no, they are very capable bikes. But I think they're very safe as well. You know, I look at the old days of some of those bikes. I mean, the Fireblade with its twitchy front wheel and that. And you can get yourself in trouble. A GS today and a lot of the, you know, the Multistradas and things, they're such a good bike. The brakes are good and everything that, if you have an element of safety in there, you've got a good chance that the bike's not going to all of a sudden do something crazy.
Modern bikes don't tie themselves in knots anymore, do they? You know, they don't like shake. If you were to lift the front for whatever reason, when it lands, you don't go into a massive tank slap. Or occasionally
absolutely.
you might, but it's not like, you know, the old days, is it?
No.
And all the gadgets and gizmos that these things have, it's just...
I still like a raw bike though.
I'm kind of
feel everything rather than there's things go on and you go, oh, I don't know what's happening. What's that? There's an element of feel to it, you know.
I'm a bit nervous to ride the Gixxer again because that has nothing, you know. There's not even ABS. There's nothing. No ABS. There's no traction control. It's got a slipper clutch. That's it. And I loved that before. I never ever wanted a bike with any of the stuff on it. But now it's like, I don't know if I could ride. Could I ride the GS could I ride the Gixxer like the way I ride the GS? Because
it's a good one. I'm not qualified to answer that, but I think you know, if I jumped on an R1 now, what would I think?
Because you can be really quite brutal with the throttle and with the brakes on the modern bikes because they've got everything on it.
I've ridden the S1000RR like pretty hard, and it is brutal. It's like, you know, acceleration is just absolutely warp factor. But it still didn't seem... it's a long time ago. Would the R1 have felt the same? I might get on one now. It's like the old CR500s. People, I had a friend, CR500, and everyone, the myth of this thing that's going to kill you and break your legs and everything. And he bought one, and he drove around, and he said, that's not as bad as I thought, actually. He's got a modern 450, like really powerful, or a good 300 two-stroke, and... I'm not saying that. A lot of people go like, oh no, they are brutal. And don't get me wrong, the power band's like a switch. I understand that, but it's still in the context of things. So I might go back to the R1, ride it and go, yeah, it's fast, but what was I thinking at that stage? I was young and it was, I don't know. People might answer that better than I can.
Well, we'll find out, I think, when I get the old Gixxer back on the road.
Sorry, folks, I'll buy an R1 then.
I'm not ignoring. I have to keep monitoring. I'm monitoring sound levels and I'm monitoring the sort of exposure values on the cameras at the moment because the lighting is obviously going down. So I want to make sure you're not just sat in the dark, which I think you might have been towards the end of the first half. I think we're okay at the moment, but we need to keep an eye on the light levels going down. Gary, thank you very much for your question, mate. He says, for me, I'd live in Tom and Towel. I'm working Afford, that way I'd at least get to do the Lecht road twice a day.
Nice.
That is fun. The Lecht is great fun over the Grampians.
And the sunshine every day.
Oh, yeah. It's never snows. Never snows there. No. He says, hope you have a great time away comparing two awful bikes. No jealousy here at all. No, it was horrible. It was a real hardship, Gary. We've had a tough couple of days, haven't we?
Yeah. It's been fun.
Right, next one. Triumph Explorer. If you broke down in the middle of nowhere and had to wait for recovery for 24 hours with one person, who would it be? Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
What, the pillion?
That is a good question.
The pillion or just
You're just
anybody?
breaking down with somebody. So you're with someone for 24 hours waiting for recovery. So that's one of the dogs, sorry. Who would that be? Who do you want for 24 hours?
Jamie Whittam.
Interesting. Why?
It's just funny and intelligent and always, just always on the money.
Yeah.
I think the stories, I was here, we were chatting literally, and he was talking about Foggy's big accident. And he said, that was nothing compared to when I burnt my nipples with the Zambuca that night on the thing, he's just unbelievable. Like, he's one of those people you see him commentate, and then in real life, that would be my gut reaction thing. Would be Jamie.
That was instant. You said that instantly. God, 24 hours. Who do I want with me for 24 hours? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Obviously not other than my wife, obviously. Wow, who do I want with me?
Oh, come on, Bruce, pressure's on.
It is. See, well, I don't look at the questions. I don't pre-read the questions, folks. So this is new to me as well. Blimey. Billy Connolly.
Billy Connolly.
Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Have me in stitches. Or my mate Webby. He's a Glasgow boy. He's just like Connolly.
Yeah.
There's so many people up in like Glasgow and like central Scotland who they can read it. I've said this before. They can read a menu and have you in stitches.
Yeah.
That type of
just
person.
Funny people.
Yeah. They're just funny. You're a bit like that as well. But like, Connolly. Connolly.
Behave myself. We're live and behave myself. Trust me. Talking about that, when Ross Noble was here, I thought, I said, so who's the funniest comedian then? So ask a really, really top comedian who the funniest comedian is. And he said in the panel situation, Frank Skinner, he said, is the sharpest by a mile. He said a lot of them are scripted and you pre-get the things that when they're not, Frank Skinner is the thing. He said, but he said, if you want to laugh like you've never laughed in your life, he said, go and have a beer with Johnny Vegas. And I can imagine it. There's a last leg. There's one, I think we talked about it the other night. There's an episode of that where they can't even start the show because he's going on. And he said, very, very funny, random guy, So if it wasn't Jamie, then maybe
Johnny Vegas. Jeez.
Maybe him or Joe Guest of old or someone like that would be obvious answers for a blow, wouldn't they? But,
it's 24 hours, mate, not 5 minutes.
Yeah, no.
That is a good question, though.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think now if there was a definite second. My first was fairly straight, because I know the time would go fast because that's what you'd want, and you've got 24 hours. Who would you be with that would entertain you? I don't know. I played the guitar, Jimmy Page, but I don't think that would be someone who wants to be stuck for 24 hours. He'd have some stories.
Are you still doing the gigging?
Yeah, well, we're just starting again. The lockdown stopped because all the lads are in England, so we've got a set list. We've got to learn, so the pressure's on because we're all going to go turn up in summer, 1, 2, 3, and we start. And
when's the next gig then?
We'll be in Spain in July, probably. So.
In Spain?
Well, yeah, we're in the house. We set up like rock stars about to go on a world tour with the pool and everything, and then go and play the local pub. It's quite funny, So, but we do a couple of gigs here and then go back to England and play some rock venues. We'll ever have us, basically.
Here's a question from me. What's the future?
The future?
Yeah.
I set out ridiculously with no battle plan to this business, and I wanted to go with the way it felt, which is not the cleverest idea in a business, but we're still here. So the future, there's a couple of things in the pipeline that I don't want to go into that could change things dramatically for us on direction. I just want it to last. I want to be the Peter Pan. Like I had an old boy the other day, Terry, come down a massive descent, and Terry's 72, young, and he come down, proper Yorkshireman. Came down and I said, bloody hell, Terry, you rode that well. I said, bloody should, Lyndon, 55 years of trials riding. Of course I should ride it good. nothing about the fact you're 72. So, and I look at Geraint Jones in Wales, still kill most people at his age. And I think, I just want to keep going whilst I can ride well, touch wood, and try and look after myself now. I'm trying to eat well and do things and keep going. And
do you have imposter syndrome?
Sorry?
Do you have like an imposter syndrome? Like for me, I constantly worry about this life that I have now, it ending. Like the ability to be doing what I love as a job. I constantly, it's in the back of my mind, that can end. This might end. Could end next month. Could end the month after, the next year.
I don't. Physically, it could easily. I had a scare a couple of weeks ago with an incident that turned out to be nothing. But you think, this is, we are mortal, and it can change. But to try and put the odds in your favour and look after yourself is a good thing. So I don't worry about the business in terms. I've got such loyal clients that, Melania and I, my right-hand person in the business, we say, well, if it all went wrong, we'd find something, and we've still got loads of friends that are clients that come and do things with us. So I've not got that fear on the business side of things. I mean, the lockdown was a tough test, who knows what's around the corner. But I don't fear, yes, I think it's your health is the one thing that you really is a gift, and you got to look after it, and it will come to an end at some stage. But I don't live with that fear in that way. No.
Right. Yeah. See, like health, I do worry about my health a little bit. I've started to row a little bit now, and I need to lose some timber. But for me, it's like, how long will this bubble last for me? That's definitely something, and it does get easier the longer this has gone on. I think the longer I've been self-employed, it's a little bit easier. It was kind of all consuming.
I remember you starting and saying it's a big step. It's like it's you're treading out of the comfort zone into a different unknown. But I had every confidence. You're a nice guy, and that's the main thing. In this kind of world, you love what you do, and you're a good guy, then you've got a good chance at doing things.
You just have to adapt, don't you? And all right, okay, if that's not working, you got to figure out something else, haven't you? And just you ain't
gonna avoid swerve balls.
Yeah.
But you don't. What you can do is try and not have them come in the first place. You can't just say, everything hit you, but they are going to come, and then it's how you deal with it. You just got to say, okay, that's that. Sleep on things. I've got a big 24-hour rule. I always sleep on things before, and then wake up and think, right, clear head, do what you can about it if it is, and if you can't, then don't worry about it, just let what's going to roll. Easy to say, I know, and people have different circumstances that are dramatic. I had it with a business that was, but it's character building, I suppose. Been punched a few times.
Right, mate, we are losing light here rapidly. There's one more question in Patreon. That is David McCracken. He said, have a great trip. If you had to go into battle on any bike, what would it be, and what music would you be playing on your cardo as you ride in?
All right. Oh my God. If you go into battle, so you need something it's not going to let you down. Something that you can go back fast. That's a very, very good question. I'm a dirt biker. It would have to be some kind of dirt bike. It would have to be,
What's your ideal dirt bike then?
I love the what we've got at the moment. The Huskies. They're
the 350s, yeah.
The 350 4-stroke, just for what I do as a business. If you're racing, then the 300 2-stroke's probably a favoured. Or as my friend's gone for his little 150 2-stroke, top pro expert rider, loving it, revitalised himself. So he said it's like cheating on this thing that's just wringing the neck off. But into battle, the 450 Yamaha with some Bodicea wheels on it with the knives off the sides. And I'd go cranked in, playing a heavy metal band. So it'd have to be, if I said anything other than something from that genre, it would be, What would I go into battle with in The Day That Never Ends by Metallica, maybe, because it builds and it's calm and you think that would be The Day That Never Ends.
Everyone's going to hate me because you know exactly what bike I'm going to say, just because it does the job and it'll cover every terrain. It's got to be the Tractor, 1300. It's got to be that. And it'll have to be Ride of the Valkyries. It's just got to be, isn't it? It's got to be that.
Is that the one I played? Oh no! What did I play in Morocco that you went? Oh no way!
Oh God! We were in the last night of the tour. We were in this
Medique.
Yeah, we were in Medique. We were in this hotel and it had a pool. So we were poolside there. They've got a DJ playing. And there's always
Huge
like
pool.
young folk there playing
Moroccans.
modern music, right? Lyndon just takes over the sort of DJ desk, connects his phone up to it via the Bluetooth.
No.
What's your favourite song, Bruce? And I just said Highland Cathedral. You know, it's a Scottish song. Made it a couple of mates. We've always said at our funerals that's a song because it's a beautiful song. Next thing, he puts that out in Morocco. Highland Cathedral. It's all bagpipes and stuff.
Honestly, people, I have never seen Bruce more uncomfortable in my life
I'd have drowned
than
you
at
in the
that
pool.
moment.
I would have drowned you in the pool. There's all these kids just sat there like, what?
Yeah, they were more confused because we'd had Rammstein on and all sorts of things and some crazy psychedelic
None of them
stuff.
said turn it off though, did they?
No. The DJ was. I think he was just happy to get someone to talk to him. But your face was like, no way you're playing this, Lyndon. It's like, yeah.
Such a tit.
So come on, what song would you? Oh, you said
Ride of the Valkyries.
Yeah.
It'd have to be. Yeah, it's got to be in it.
Or Painkiller, probably mine, by Judas Priest. That's about as fast and as mad as you want.
Jesus.
I was on an aeroplane and they got us all off because there was smoke coming out the aeroplane. They stuck us in buses at Liverpool for an hour in these buses. But in the first stage, I'm there. Well, just stay calm. There's nothing we can do about it. Headphones on. Bit of Judas Priest, Painkiller. The fastest, maddest song if you hear it. Screechy high voice and everything, you know. I'm like, my ears are going bad from playing this guitar. Like, it's like, doesn't sound that loud anymore, my thing. And then the guy eventually halfway through taps me on the shoulder. He said, your wire's not in the bottom of the phone. So everybody's listening to Judas Priest, Painkiller on a bus.
You were that man.
I was that man, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, some of the AC/DC stuff. But no, I like The Day That Never Ends. I think my first answer was probably the one I go with.
Always go with the first answer. Yeah. Right, folks, it's almost pitch black here. You can probably see on the cameras behind us. That's the questions. We've also got some clients here who've just arrived today waiting to go out for dinner. So, gents, if you're watching this or listening to this, thank you very much for your patience.
Yeah, they've been amazing to be quiet. It's like normally we'd have someone naked wandering around in the background or something, but lovely guys. We've got a high chance of survival after that.
Yeah. You might look after them tomorrow.
Might have to look after them, yeah.
Lyndon, always a pleasure,
Oh,
mate. Thank you very much for taking me out for the past
couple of days, and thank you for all the support.
Much.
Yeah, brilliant.
Floor is yours. Please promote whatever you like. Shout out whoever you like. That camera or that camera, fill your boots.
Wow, just come and have some fun on the dirt bikes with Toro Trail and the GS with Toro Adventure. Other things? Ooh, not sure really. I was right on the spot with that one.
Do you have any band CDs, albums?
Violet Jokers, the band. So if you're in the northwest in Southport area, you see that. Avoid that. No, the lads are really good in the band. I'm average, but the guitarist and the drummer's a pro drummer. They're really good. So, but no, nothing much else. Just keep safe, keep sunny side up, and hope we see some of you sometime, that's all.
Where do people go if they want to find out more info about Toro Trail or Toro Adventure?
Yeah, our website's one of the protocols. We use Facebook.
Took the hint eventually.
Yeah, we're a bit old, so we're Facebook orientated. We have Toro Trail and Toro Trail Official, which is, you have to join it, so it's a group, so you see the posts. That's kind of the funny stuff that goes on there. And then torotrail.com and toroadventure.com, the two websites. There's Instagram. We don't do a lot on. We should do more. We're going to launch ToroTube. which will be just funny. We've been doing some clips for that whilst I've been riding. Just some of the crazy stuff we get up to, some of the people we see with bears and people like that, and just random. It's funny what goes on, and the banter between myself and Melanie, the mother hen of the business.
She's the real boss, for sure.
Oh my God, it is a proper cabaret between the two of us. So that is like a comedy act in itself. So just some funny stuff. We just want to have fun and people to come and find somewhere that they feel a bit of a sanctuary as well. We've had that quite a lot post lockdowns and things. A lot of people don't have anywhere to go and talk, and you know, where we're sat now, there's many a conversation had around here. It's like a safe place for people. So, you know, just come and be part of the Toro crew, that's all.
Cool. I can second that. There's plenty of videos on the TeapotOne YouTube channel with Toro that are there. I'll leave some links down below, so make sure you check all that. All Lyndon's socials, the websites, Facebook. I think you've got an Insta as well. That'll all be linked down below, so make sure you check that out. Give it a like, a follow, subscribe, all the rest of it. Right, Lyndon, thank you very much. Let's hit the beer. Let's go for some food.
Yeah.
Let's go and say hello to the Irish lads. Folks, keep doing your thing. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can, but most importantly, live your life.
Live your life.
Woo. Ah. Dude, how was that? All right?